Today's episode on the Pondcast, the August update, reviews and insights. I'm your host, Draco, and joining me today is Chase.
How's it going, everyone?
Guren.
Hello.
And SonRyu.
Aloha.
And welcome to The Deep End, our captivating discussion series where we dive into the depths of the current Pokemon news and theories. So this week, we got a chance to see the newest trailer from Pokemon, and we're getting together today to just kind of go over that trailer, as well as give our insights, our thoughts about what we're seeing, what they've chosen to show us, and just to give an honest reaction and expectation of what is to come. So as the video opens up, we see Ogerpon looking over the village. We start really getting a sense of the vibe of the wild area out there. We see the Cramorants, we see the Trevenants, and we even see the protagonists.
Ogerpon Dark Knight confirmed.
We also start seeing some of the more returning Pokemon, and we get to a point where we're introduced to our very first new Pokemon, Dipplin, who is an evolution to Applin, looks like a candy-covered apple.
I thought it was a regional variant.
I thought it was a convergent.
Well, I thought it was a different, like similar.
Well, what threw me off is that they have it next to the Applin sign, and you look at it, and I'm like, oh, look, it's an Applin. Wait, no, that's not an Applin. That color's wrong. Are we seeing a convergent? Are we seeing a variant? What's going on? I was totally floored. I really was. I was like,
No, it's just a bit of the theory crafting that's been going around. So people are thinking, because Dipplin is so small and it's not as, I don't want to say, the design isn't as complex as Appleton and Flapples. So people are speculating that it might evolve further. And there was a riddle by Ku showing Hermes' staff, which is a very iconic symbol used in a lot of medical symbolism, so logos and all of that. But I was actually thinking, how cool would it be if we had almost like an Ouroboros theme going on, because there are two of the wormy Pokemon in there, and one could be biting the other tail while the other goes around and chows the other one's tail.
that'd be interesting.
Yeah, it would be, especially with that cooties. When I saw this thing, right, I thought it was a variant, right? Like, I thought it was a regional variant of Applin. So then I was thinking, oh, maybe we're gonna get some new variant forms of like Appleton and Flapples. See, that was my thought process when I first saw this thing. That'd be pretty cool, you know what I mean? I mean, that was just my thought process at the time. I didn't even know that there was like two of those guys inside. I thought it was just one little dude inside the apple, so color me surprised.
I'm hoping that the shiny's caramel covered.
Oh, that would be so good.
Oh yeah, for the shiny.
And then we see our protagonists meeting the characters that we're going to be interacting with.
Seconds, I can finally use the Arbok, finally.
And there's a Sentret there too.
The long boys have returned.
You start seeing the main character interact a little bit here and there with the different characters we're going to be meeting. I'm hoping that this time around we're going to see a lot more interaction with the DLC characters, and not just, oh hey, go do this, oh hey, go do that.
No.
You know, I just realized that they're wearing Jinbeis, from my understanding, because I actually own one, is that this is casual wear.
Ah. So One Piece fans will know what a Jinbei is, I think, too.
Is it me, or does the pair of pants here look like a penguin? That does not look like one of the three Pokemon that are supposed to help you.
You know what I think it actually looks like? I think it looks like the underneath of a Mantine.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Ooh, and some more Pokemon yet to be revealed.
Yeah, but if that's a Mantine, that is a way different Mantine.
Oh yeah.
Theory, Kiran Big Bad, he does something to disturb Ogerpon. Ogerpon brings wrath upon village, player save village, bing bada boom, a teal mask story that quick.
And then bam, plot twist, 3 loyals are actually 3 evils. And Ogerpon is Dark Knight confirmed. He's gonna stop.
Then moving forward a little bit, we see some of the other areas that we're going to be able to explore. And then, of course, we get to see Ogerpon with the jewels and the mask. We see it terrestrialize and the form completely changing of the mask.
That terraform of Ogerpon, I don't think is its true terraform. And I don't think the little Ogerpon is its true form either. Because we see towards the ending frames of the trailer, the mask is falling downstairs. I think that could be Ogerpon releasing its true form. Later in the trailer, we obviously see baby Terapagos turn into big Terapagos, and that's a thing on its own. So I think it could be a similar situation here, because this terraform itself doesn't change too much, but I think we might be in for a big surprise with regards to Ogerpon.
Well, they definitely have been hinting that this is actually just a mask and that it isn't the true face of the Pokemon. If you look at the early shots of the image, Ogerpon's actually holding the mask and is tilting it away from the face, and you see another set of eyes behind the mask. I definitely have to agree with you. I think this is just kind of like Koopa Stage 1 form, and then when it transforms, it's going to be something a lot more stronger.
Because I mean, for this little guy, for him to be, I'm assuming like, you know, people considering him to be evil in the game, at least story-wise, there's got to be something else.
And then, of course, as we progress further, we get to see our 3 other Pokemon in action, and more shots of the terrain as we're moving along. And there's that scene where this mask just comes right off. If you're enjoying the video so far, I invite you all to let us know down below what are your thoughts, and be sure to share and subscribe to the video so you keep up with some of our antics and other outtakes that we have. All right, so moving on, we get into the next part of the DLC, which is the Indigo Disc.
That looks like a frog face.
Frog face?
Oh, yeah. See,
Yeah, it does. Ribbit.
God, new frog Pokemon confirmed. Let's go.
Cyrono frog confirmed.
Paradox Frog, let's go.
We get treated to seeing a lot of the inside sights of the building that we're going to be exploring. The characters that we see from Part 1 join us in Part 2. But I think one of the first things that kind of blew my mind was they're in the same room, and you see the rooms changing. So obviously they're talking about, hey, personalize this room here, customizing.
Well, I mean,
the
to
room.
this extent, yes.
Yeah,
Because I mean, use the bases and stuff.
in my mind, it's very similar to Secret Bases. It has that same vibe. And if you don't choose the green plant room, you're bad at fashion. You have no style.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was totally not gonna pick the green room now. I was gonna leave it as like default wood planks everywhere.
That green room is the default like streamer background setup.
I like how from the outside you don't really get this sense of how large this place actually is. It isn't until the follow-up where you're running down the tunnel, you just see this humongously wide open space, and I'm just like, wow, this thing is massive. It does not look that big when they're spinning around the camera and you're walking in the front gate.
Look at that pan out. Oh my god.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, there is definitely a sense of grandeur, and I think this could potentially be almost as big as the main map of Paldea by the looks of things.
Damn, that's saying something. The map was huge as it was already.
I like the hard break lines between the different zones, so you can expect certain types of Pokemon in certain areas, and it's a little easier to find them.
I wonder how they'll explain that though, because I mean, it's not like you see a visible force field. It's literally just the blocks. So obviously Alola Momola won't be able to get over them, but Inkay could just like fly over them. And also, is this the first time we see Inkay in the water?
I think so. And even now, it's not even in the water.
Yeah, it's not even in the water. It's just
I don't think it's a
Dodrio!
My boy!
Hey, where's the dirt face? Hey, he's supposed to have a dirt face. Excuse me.
That Skarmory looks gorgeous. They
Yeah,
did
they-
such a good job with the textures.
They did. It's all good.
I just have a few problems with some of the textures for the steel types, like Magnum, like the Magnemite line. I feel like it's a little too chromey, but like, it's not that bad.
Yeah, I think it does get difficult, especially when you're shiny hunting, to try and figure out what's what. That's actually a really sick scene.
We are treated to going through the different zones. We get to see all the different Pokemon. Some of them are returning, and I'm glad to see them coming back. And then we get the ability to fly, finally. But it might just be only in this zone, yeah.
Yeah. For now.
I mean, I'm okay with that. Even if we just get it, we get the ability outright, we can use it anywhere. I like how it's given to us sort of towards the end of the game's life cycle, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess so. Kind of feels a little in the fact it's like, oh, you're only giving it to us now.
It feels like the last episode of Smallville.
Oh god, don't even start
wait.
with that. Trauma. I can hear the theme song in my head and that final episode where he just... Somebody say it's me. Somebody save me. Dude, how many seasons was it before you flew? It was like 10 seasons.
Something like that, yeah. Some ridiculous number. And he only flies the very last episode. Hey, he finally flew. Then we come to the Battle of the Fossils, and I'm like, oh, are they bringing them back? Are we getting our fossils back?
Heck yeah. I see my Rampardos there. Let's go. Heck.
So I actually have an interesting theory about these fossils. So because we know this is an artificial environment, does that mean we could see the Galar fossils in their true, like, unspliced forms?
That would be nice to see.
That would be really nice to see. I will admit.
No. If I see like a Draco just walking around though, then it's just be like, you know what? Fine. That thing was alive ever since. Just like that.
No.
I just wish they would breed, but they won't breed.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're abominations of nature that belong in Full Metal Alchemist. Get the reference.
Oh God.
No.
I love the character designs that we're getting now. They're definitely looking less and less generic, trying to get as much personality into each new character that we're seeing.
Especially since we're like using 3D models and everything too. Like I'm kind of glad to see like it's not like just the same face.
And then we get to see our Duraludon evolution, which I'm not entirely sure if it's supposed to be a bridge, a staple remover, or an ion cannon.
Draco, I'd mentioned this to you. I think I DM'd it to you. Obviously, Duraludon and its G-Max is based on the shard in the UK, and I'd mentioned that this could be a reference to Tower Bridge, or London Bridge, whichever one it is. But I watched Lumio's post video, and this actually looks a lot more like the Manhattan Bridge, from like the supports to the actual electric ropes where they're laid out. How cool would it be, right? So if we got a Legends like Kyurem game, and instead of like normal bridges, people just walked on Archaludon. And if you look at the top, the peaks almost look the same as the peaks on the top of Duraludon. Obviously less sparky.
Yeah. Yeah?
Jeez, it must be a huge Pokemon then, you know what I mean? Like, unless they like, unless they pile like, or they line up like a bunch of them at once. I just want to say this Mon has the biggest Chad energy ever. Like I see him as one, or I see this Mon like while it's walking like as one of those like big muscular guys that would just like, hit you with their shoulders, you know, and then you can't do nothing about it because the dude's too big or anything, you know. I feel like this evolution's got that kind of energy.
And then of course we see the tournament.
Sorry, can you pause on the guy with like the red undershirt? Because like we have no idea who this is, right? I think there are speculations that people are saying that this is Guren. I'm not entirely sure if that's the case, but if it's not Guren, I do wonder what character this is. Like, would it be another reference character to another like previous game or maybe future game? If it is Guren, well, I don't know. I guess he loosened up a bit and maybe he got stronger. I'm not sure.
We see them gearing up for some kind of competition before they cut into more locations inside the dome. And there's this cave that looks like a Pokemon as well. So then we see our Paradox Raikou and our Paradox Cobalion.
I just wanted to say, like, because they released it this way, that it looks like they will be continuing the Legendary Beast and the Swords of Justice Paradox forms. My theory on this is it's either they release the other two later for the DLC, like they'll announce them later, maybe when Indigo Disc actually drops, or we still might be getting DLC for this game, and they'll introduce them then.
I'm gonna say that I probably am leaning for another set of DLC, only because we're still a little ways out for the 30th anniversary for Pokemon. And that being said, what better time to drop Gen 10 than on the 30th anniversary?
Agreed.
And if we still gotta wait a little bit more, then the way to extend the life of this game is to drop another DLC, because I don't see them dropping something else for competitive play. I think they're going to keep it this. We may actually see more, if not all, the Pokemon return, if that's the case. But grab your ladder. This is a reach. This is a huge reach.
Oh, we did get those new menu sprites for every single Pokemon. And so far it hasn't been used in home, or at least not to my knowledge. And they've only been used in Scarlet and Violet.
Cool.
But also, I want to say my theory, and I want to have video proof of this so nobody can say I stole their theory. We've got Paradox Suicune, Paradox Raikou, Paradox Cobalion, and Paradox Virizion. So, as Guren said, it's only natural that we're going to get the rest of them. And potentially a fused form, just based on the drawings that Heath did in his book. So, it stands to reason that we might get the leaders. And I did write about this and posted in the Hidden Power Discord, but I feel like the Paradox Beast specifically, we've got more of a chance of getting Paradox Ho-Oh for them. But also, as I said in my message, we didn't get a regional Lugia when we got the regional Burn, so it's probably highly unlikely, but there might still be a possibility. So the way we know these Paradox Pokemon now is, I feel they don't have conventional names, they seem more like code names. So the example that I gave was, we know Nihiligo is Nihiligo, but Nihiligo's code name is UB01. The Paradox Suicune, Paradox Raikou, and Paradox Entei could actually be the 3 unnamed Pokemon that died in the burnt tower that Ho-Oh resurrected. And that could be the reason why Ho-Oh now looks like it does. Because I'm theorizing that we'll get a Pterodactyl Entei and like a Uteranus style Ho-Oh. So after it bestows its power, they all become these like cat-looking things, and then Ho-Oh can fly. So I think that could be a nice nod to Johto. I don't know what they would do for the Paradox Swords. I'm still struggling to figure that out. But I just thought that it was quite interesting that we have Paradox forms for the beasts, but we don't have actual proper names for them, and especially with the EV sort of theory that goes around that the 3 Pokemon that died were Vaporeon, Jolteon, and Flareon, and then Ho-Oh sort of resurrected them into stronger forms.
Like this idea. I want to. I personally can't wait to see something interesting come out of that.
Yeah, and then we get a regional variant Lugia, like out of nowhere. You know, it's not even Galarian. It's like Paldean. It's like, what the heck?
Paradox Cobalion looks so much better in terms of like how different it looks from normal Cobalion than Virizion and Iron Leaves did. I think that's definitely a big step up, and I'd like to see the trend keep on going with Terrakion.
Terrakion better look really damn cool in that case. Like,
Terrakion better be a tank.
Yeah, he better be like a tank or something. There you go, Iron Tank. Bam, there you go. That's his new name. That's his new name, Iron Tank. Let's go.
I saw Yakophatel.
Holy Toad. Oh yes, another Rain Setter. Let's go. The better Rain Setter. Sorry.
Bringing Ninetales.
Oh, and the Ninetales. That's true. We also do get Ninetales back.
From the Ninetales. Oh yeah, the yellow and Sandshrew.
One of my favorites from Gen 7.
I think this part specifically is very suspicious to me. You'll see Terrapagos transform, but you don't actually see the normal Terra Crystal like build up and then smash out of the crystals and reveal this new form.
Yeah.
So I think there's a new animation for Terraforms that they're not showing to us.
Oh, that's for
Also, have you noticed how Ogerpon didn't have a crown and neither does Terrapagos?
Yeah, actually. So what if Terrapagos, when it evolves, it's in every type mon? I've been thinking a lot about how old rumors that people swore up and down were now debunked. What if what they were talking about wasn't Gen 8? It was Gen 9. It was DLC for Gen 9. Armored Pokemon. Well, we got Ceruledge and Armarouge. We had type changing. Well, that's what terrestrialization is. There was rumors that Arceus was going to have a plate that gave him every type. Well, what if that was actually Terrapagos' terraform? He's in every type.
I actually think that Terrapagos, so when it goes into its terrestrial form, it's going to be similar to Arceus, where whatever move it uses, it changes type to that move, or whatever move is being used against it, it changes to a type that's advantageous, so it doesn't take super effective damage. I know that might sound a bit broken, but if you think about it, Protean and Libero, I don't know if color change got edited, because I don't know if it's in the game, because only Kekleon gets it. You can only change type. It's either once per battle, or you can switch out, switch back in, and then change type again. but Terapagos would then shine with that ability similar to Arceus, where it can change types at will.
I also wouldn't put it past them to having
The more OP version of like Libero or Protean, just because it's if this thing is considered a mythical Pokemon, then
Yeah, it's not a
it's not.
not from what I can see, but
This is a legendary.
I'm assuming it is. Or legendary
Yeah.
slash.
Mythical, I guess, if you want to be specific.
Also, Draco, you mentioned armor. When a Pokemon terastallizes, it gets covered in crystal.
Yeah.
So that could be seen as armor.
And then, of course, we see some old images, and they've got some drawings on the ground.
Can I just say, Heath is an extremely short king, because his Cyclozar is taller than him.
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's not
Oh
Please,
man,
Short kings rejoice. We will be main characters.
for the map, right? So do you guys think it will be connected to like the area 1 to 4, or is it a new path that we have to take? I'm thinking it's gonna be on a probably different path if it's not connected to the same one.
Might be a whole new area.
Because I feel like people haven't probably theorized that, or somebody might have, but
It could be that other elevator door that's stuck shut. Maybe they
I'm
finally got it
thinking
open.
it's gonna be a new path. It has.
I agree with Guren on this one. I reckon it's the elevator. Something sus about the elevator. It's going to take us to the Pokemon version of the back rooms.
Yeah. Oh yeah, unless there's like more floors down below and they just haven't reached there yet, maybe. Like or maybe it just hasn't been documented or something.
Yeah.
I've got it. So this is what's going to happen, right? So the elevator shaft itself is broken, and they need an expedition team. So Peony's going to come back from Galar, and he's going to come and help like clear a path, right? And then we're going to see Peony and Rose working together, because nothing beats a brotherly bond.
Oh. No. Better yet. Okay, there was that cool rumor, right, where it shows that one professor lady and then another person that's in question mark and it says ship question mark, right? What if that other person is actually Peony? Because Peony has a daughter, right? So what if that's her daughter? You know, like that professor is actually married to Peony, and then like that's
because
their
he never
daughter.
actually Peony's wife.
Yeah.
So Miss Briar, right, hands down, is related to Brassius, because Brassius is the grass-type gym leader, right? So it's obviously must be related to plants in some degree. But Briar is also briar bushes, and they do look fairly similar. Either they could be married and Brassius' surname is Briar, which would make sense, and his wife teaches at Blueberry Academy. Or alternatively, it could just be his sister, I mean.
Well, we've got
They're
the release
cousins.
date for the first part of September 13.
Heck yeah. 1 month to go at the recording of this video.
And I still haven't bought the DLC.
Yeah, nor do I.
Get your free Zoroark. I still need to buy the DLC for my Violet game. I don't know if I'm going to, though.
Well, you can transfer.
Can I just say about this, and I want to give a shout out to, I have no idea how to pronounce his name. I don't know if it's Adept Sharon or Adept Sharon. They made a really good point that Paradox Raikou and Paradox Cobalion we should have had them as raids, and I fully agree, and I do agree with him that raid breakdowns did affect that, because we lost roughly, I think it was 3 weeks due to raid breakdowns. So that raid event with the Paradox Mons would have been perfect in the slot that the actual Mewtwo raid itself is in now, because Mewtwo runs, I think it's like September 10 until September 17. That would be perfect to coincide with the release of the DLC, and it doesn't really make much sense that Mewtwo is now being released as a raid so late, especially when all the other games have had their Mewtwo events started already. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are, I think, 2 weeks late on that at this point.
And with that brings this episode to a close. What are your thoughts about what we got a chance to see in the DLC information drop? Let us know down below. Also, be sure to share, like, and subscribe. Let us know how we're doing. And as always, have a wonderful day. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a
Ciao.
good one.